Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all keeping well. It's been a busy old time over here. We've had some really exciting life things going on, and I don't want to like go too much into personal stuff because I think that's something that I wanted to change a lot with my content. I wanted to still share things that I love, but like still keep my personal life private, and I think that's very important in this day and age online, basically. We will be changing backgrounds soon. We'll be changing locations because we're moving into our first home, which is very exciting. And I will definitely be, I really want to cover some of like the process of putting our stamp on a place. At the moment, it's a lot of like ordering stuff and starting to get supplies in and things like that. But it has been really exciting. But I did want to kind of say that because I haven't really been doing a lot of stuff. I've been doing stuff like here and there, and I feel like as we get into a more kind of cozy season like we are now, I just miss doing things like this because I just find it really cozy. I don't know why, but hey, that's just me. So today I wanted to do a little sit down video, and I wanted to show what I've been reading this autumn, what I'm currently reading, and what I plan to finish or try and read over the next couple of months towards the end of the year. Let's say that, like maybe crossing over into winter slightly. I do want to have some more Christmassy kind of wintry reads, but these are kind of some things that I want to get to before I start on that or finish. I was in a real like dark academia mood this autumn, and I don't really know why. Like I felt like there was a lot of books on my shelf that I really wanted to read and get to, and they all seem to have a dark academia theme. So the first one, I'm just going to kind of go through some like my favorites and my highlights, just keeping things joyful rather than talking about some negative things. There is one negative one, but I will get to that. One of my highlights from so far this autumn is reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Now, I read The Goldfinch, maybe like 10 years ago, and I did not enjoy it one bit. I found it very, very, very boring. I think I gave it 3 stars, and I think I just found the pace of it really slow, and I didn't enjoy the characters. I found them quite toxic, and yeah, I just felt like I couldn't really tell where the book was going. But with this, yeah, this is probably one of the best books I have ever read. It's definitely a modern classic. It's essentially about a group of students at a college who, some of them have been already together for a little while, but one person is kind of coming into their group, and it's about how they kind of start friendships. And then throughout the book, you have this building of tension all the way to this thing that happens in the middle, and then the second half of the book is the fallout. But I think what I loved about this, as well as the setting, it just felt so autumnal. There's so many autumnal quotes in here, which I would just love to annotate this at some point. But I felt like the pacing was just perfect. I was always kept engaged, and I found the characters so annoying but also so lovable, and it felt kind of Great Gatsby-ish, like with this person coming into this group and meeting, almost like being in awe of these people, and then like the fallout after a big event. It reminded me a lot of that, and I love The Great Gatsby. It's one of my favourite books, so that really helped with me loving this. And I didn't find it pretentious. I think sometimes when it's a book which is there's a lot of kind of that stuff going on, like education wise, I can find it quite, yeah, it could be quite condescending to the reader, but I felt like the education bits were brought in beautifully. And this is like the perfect, like, I wouldn't say it's a soft mystery, but there's elements going on there without it being a classic like thriller murder mystery. It's just such a unique book, and I absolutely loved it, and it was just the perfect book to read in autumn. Now, my second highlight this autumn reading wise has been a book that has sat on my shelf since it came out, and I haven't read it, and I have had so many people saying, you need to read it, please tell me when you've read it, whatever. So I read it, and that is Fourth Wing. I don't have the dust jacket because it's somewhere and I can't find it. Lived up to the hype for me a lot. I really enjoyed this. This was so much fun. It reminded me of like Hogwarts, but like Baked Dragons, and I really enjoyed the different characters. I loved the relationships, I loved the build up. There was like a couple of things that maybe would have knocked it down, but then the book seemed to redeem itself, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Like I think some of the things I did find a bit icky was like, I found that the romance started off quite toxic, and I think that I know that a lot of young people read this, like teenagers, and I was like, oh, I don't want, that feels a bit wrong to me. But then it kind of like leveled out, so I feel like it balanced itself. But I just found it just so gripping and so exciting, and I loved the education side of it. Again, reminded me of Harry Potter, how it really goes into like the education, the history, like the relationships of dragons and humans, and yeah, I just had a great time. I really enjoyed it. I am going to read the next 2 books at some point, but I'm going to give myself a break just to pace myself. Those are my 2 kind of 5-star reads. I didn't have a huge amount of 5-star reads during the autumn. I had a couple of audiobooks. I read The Ministry in Time, which I really loved on audio, and definitely would recommend that. Would love to read it physically. A beautiful kind of genre bending book about the Ministry of Time, and someone who is looking after somebody from the past and helping them to adjust, and just loved the characters, British humour, the pacing, and yeah, again, just would love to reread it at some point. I'm currently reading, I had a little bit of a bad streak going into autumn. I started off with The Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie and loved it. And then I went to The Familiar by Lee Bardugo. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. And I DNF'd it. And I'm very disappointed because it was such a cool premise and a really cool cover. And I bought the special edition of it thinking I'd love it because I loved Ninth House. And I hated it. I really didn't enjoy it. And so I was looking for a book that I was hoping to get me out of getting into a slump. And I started reading A Study in Drowning by Eyre Reid. And I'm enjoying elements of it. I don't like our main character. I'm just finding her really wet and childish, and I don't find a charm in her. I'm finding charms in other characters, and that's what's keeping me reading, and that's what's different from The Familiar, because The Familiar, I hated everybody. I love unlovable characters, but I just didn't vibe with any of them. Like I wasn't there for any of them, and the story was all over the place. I'm feeling like this is stronger, but I'm just not loving Effie yet. I'm hoping she grows on me. I don't think I'll DNF this because I am starting to get into it, especially now she's kind of got a bit of a task going on with somebody in the book who I think is going to be the love interest. Basically, this is about a girl who is at university. She hasn't been allowed to go onto the literature course, which is what she's always wanted because they don't allow women to go onto there. So she's almost like the next rung down in the architecture course. She hates it. She applies to redesign the mansion of her favourite author who has recently passed away, and she gets accepted. So she heads down south and she's just getting used to it. She tries to run away a lot, and I'm just like, come on, pull your socks up and get on with it. But I am really interested, like I'm starting to get into like the mystery bits, and that is intriguing me. So I think I will keep reading this because I very rarely DNF a book, but it's only if I'm really not vibing with it. And I'm vibing with parts of it, so I'm hoping it's going to get better because I know a lot of people love this. And then a couple of books that I would love to get to before the end of the year, preferably before December, I don't know. I've never watched Dead Poets Society, and I'm trying to change that this autumn. It's on my watch list, just a lot going on, so I've not been able to kind of sit down and give it the time that it deserves. I did actually start it, but I didn't get far into it, so I need to sit down and properly watch it. But I wanted to see whether the book was any good. It's not the usual format of book came first, film came second. This is film came first, book came second. A lot of people have said it's okay. It doesn't really add anything, but I would like to read it. And it's a very short book, so I feel like it could be a little in-between book that I put into something. Maybe going into November, I don't know. But I would like to get to that at some point. And then the last books really, I wanted to try and read the Once and Future King series by T.H. White. Best known book is Sword in the Stone, King Arthur retelling. If you've seen the film, the OG Disney film, just such pure perfection, just absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed The Sword in the Stone because I found like it had quite a lot of British humour. It was very funny. Nothing really happened, but I didn't mind because I had a great time reading it. And I did that in the spring and I haven't carried on, but I did find that they read very quickly. So I feel like, I mean, I don't know if I'll get to the end completely, but I would like to make a good chunk in that before the year is out. Especially now we kind of got past kind of the book that I know from the film. We're going to be carrying on with Arthur. I hope so anyway, I presume. I'm just going to jump on my phone as well and just pick out a couple of other books that I have my eye on reading soon, but I don't have with me right now. And some books ideally I want to try and read before this month finishes and going into November. So the one book that I definitely want to try and read this month is Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Again, I think I tried to get to it last year and I didn't quite, because I wanted to read it over Halloween. I think I was reading something else, maybe Something Wicked This Way Comes. I think it was that actually, because it happens on Halloween night, so I was trying to time it. So I'd like to try and get to that, because I'm hoping that I'll be done with The Study in Drowning sometime, maybe at the end of this weekend, maybe, I don't know. And then I can read Halloween Party up to Halloween, which will be really good. But some books that I would like to get to in November, I would love to get to Jane Eyre, because again, it's a classic that I've never read and would love to read, and I've never watched an adaptation either, so I'm going in blind and everyone raves about it. It feels like the perfect moody kind of almost going into winter book, but not quite winter, if that makes sense. I would also like to get to Empire of the Vampire, because again, I've heard great things. I think the new one's coming out in November, but I'm not going to get to that because there's another book in between that. But I'd like to start the series at least. I'm also currently reading on audio A Witch's Guide to Magical Inkeeping. Loving that so much. Just so cozy, but so funny, but charming as well. Really enjoying that. I forgot to say that I'm currently reading that at the moment. And I'd also like to get to The Great Alone. I've got so many Kristin Hannah books and I just don't know where to start, and a lot of people have said The Nightingale, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds whether to start with that or to go in with like a wintry book, which I feel like The Great Alone is. So that one's a bit undecided, but I would like to start a Kristin Hannah book in November. I also would love to try and get to Babel, because again, I've not read that. I have Catabasis, haven't read it yet. Did try to, but I was like, again, do I read Babel first? So I want to try and read Babel. And possibly The City of Tears, which is the second book in the... Can't remember, I'll put it what it is on the screen. It's by Kate Mosse, her. I read The Burning Chambers last year and loved it, and I would like to get to the second book soon, so who knows, hopefully we'll get to that. But that is my autumnal reading. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just been so nice to sit down and chat to the camera again. It's felt like ages. It probably will be quite sporadic up until when we're settled in, but I want to show you my bookshelves when I've got them all set up and nice, so that will happen soon. Have a lovely rest of your day and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.